What's going on, guys? Tobin here with you. Thanks for checking out the channel. Much appreciated. You guys are fantastic. If you guys could subscribe, that'd mean a lot to me. If you guys also could subscribe to Tobin and Leroy weekdays from 10 a.m. to 2 p.m., that would also just be a delight for me. And this is going to be a delightful week. We have Miami Dolphins training camp week. Goosies galore, dude. Dolphins reporting. Everybody gets in there. I believe Tuesday is report day. First practice gets going on Wednesday. I think the fans get to go this weekend to start seeing them. And I mean, like, people are going to be hyped up, dude. I mean, like, I was even getting jealous seeing some of the clips around this week, seeing everybody, getting to see Aaron Rodgers, get to throw some passes and, seeing the Jets fans get to react. You're jealous. You got a little bit of FOMO. So I'm like, I cannot wait for Dolphins shenanigans to get going down at training camp, getting to see Tua and Tyreek Hill throw bombs to one another yet again, see who's going to shine, see what the big storylines are going to be. Football, dude. Oh, just delicious. I can't wait for this season. This feels like it's going to be it feels like it has the makings. It could be something really, really special. I think that's the thing that everybody's looking upon right now. And the way that things are going on in the city right now, hell, I mean, you got the messy walk-off goal the other night. You got teams going to the finals, teams going to the Stanley Cup, teams going to the Final Four. Marlins are kind of screwing the pooch. But this ain't your Marlins right now. It's the Dolphins, man. They got it all in front of them. I truly, truly feel that way. Like, this is a year where things are set up for them in the right way. You know that this conference is an absolute monster. This division has the potential to be a monster, has the potential to be a disaster. You don't really know. I mean, it seems like outside of Miami, every other team is dealing with a lot of drama, whether it be, relationship between ownership and coach in New England, whether it be the Jets having to deal with Hard Knocks, bringing in Aaron Rodgers and everything that they, I think have going on them with a bit of a bullseye. And then, of course, we've, talked about the Bills ad nauseum, it feels like, in this offseason. But for the Dolphins, I mean, there's not a ton. And then honestly, the only thing that really had a potential to cause a little bit of friction, a little bit of drama, was the Christian Wilkins situation. And then you have the report that came out this week, and it said that, I believe it was Jeremy Fowler who reported it, where it said Christian Wilkins is planning to report to camp. There's not going to be any kind of a holdout, which is, I think, great news for the Dolphins that Christian Wilkins is going about this in the, the well played, I guess you could call it the professional manner. I don't know really what it buys you anymore. Here's the thing that sucks about it for players. I will be honest with you. Jeremy Fowler's tweet says, while Chris Jones stays away from Chiefs camp in search of a new deal, another started defensive tackle who's up for a potential extension is Miami's Christian Wilkins, who plans to report to Dolphins camp per source. Now, not an apples to apples situation. Chris Jones is in the midst of a contract. This is the last year of his contract in one that he's already signed with Kansas City. Christian Wilkins is going into that first big monster contract after being a first round pick. And so it's not a complete, tit for tat as far as like, why is one guy doing one? Why when one isn't doing the other? And I do think that, Chris Jones, a little bit more accolades than Christian Wilkins, who I think, last year was so good and really, I think burst onto the scene is probably too strong, but I think really like opened up even more eyes as to like, oh, this guy feels like he's hitting even another level. And so you go into this year and, they pick up the 5th-year option, so it's the last year in his deal. They obviously could then go franchise route if they really wanted to go that way next year, if they can't solve anything. I don't know. I don't know what the situation is going to be there, if that'll end up leading to some animosity. I also don't know for Christian Wilkins, is this going to be, does this pay off for him? It didn't for Mike Gesicki last year. And I think, unfortunately, we see a lot with guys, and I think you've heard a lot of the running backs voice some frustration of this, is that, like, what does it pay to be the nice guy? What does it pay to be the guy who's like the good company man? I think it buys you something with the fans, as far as like, whenever Xavier Howard makes a stink, I do feel like some fans like start rolling their eyes again, like, here goes X. He's disgruntled again. He's had a couple of those in his career. But with Mike Gesicki, it's kind of like, oh, Mike Gesicki, always going to love him. Sorry, it just didn't work out. But ultimately, like, Mike Gesicki's sitting here, he's playing for less money than he did last year, so maybe he should have just made a stink. And for Christian Wilkins, it's kind of the same thing. It's like, hey, this is great that Christian Wilkins, it appears like he's not going to make a stink, that he is going to just kind of play this thing out and hope that business takes care of itself. But, look, man, I mean, you're kind of on, if things work out with the Dolphins in their quarterback situation, if maybe you have to pay Jalen Waddle next year, all those things are kind of looming. Does he end up, is this the best opportunity for him to get paid with the Dolphins? And so is he getting good advice to just kind of go throughout? Now, he's drafted by Chris Greer. Chris Greer has been very open about how much they want to get a deal done. We've seen a lot of, defensive tackle contracts get done this offseason. Though he doesn't have the sack numbers, man, he was so good last year. I mean, the guy was like a lion chasing people down. The amount of tackles that he has from that position, the amount of disruption that he causes from that position, him and Zach Sealer. I mean, Zach Sealer was absolutely, I mean, those two, I thought last year that very clearly the duo that was the scariest for the Dolphins, especially in the first half of the year, was obviously Tyreek Hill and Jalen Waddle. But I thought that, towards the end of that season, I thought that Christian Wilkins, Zach Sealer were like the dynamic duo for this team and just causing havoc. So, you do wonder how that's all going to go out for him. And then the other big thing that you kind of got we're all just looking upon is Dalvin Cook watch. He tweeted out sunglasses emoji tonight, like it's kind of like a coy, he's relaxed about things. He feels good about things. And so does this mean Dalvin Cook has made his decision anytime soon? Are we going to get a Dalvin Cook decision? The only thing that's gone longer than Damian Lillard watch has been Dalvin Cook watch down here. And, it's interesting because while I get the arguments against it, one of the arguments for it is I don't want him going to the Jets. I mean, like, that is, like, if you tell me by the end of this, here's what's going to happen. Dalvin Cook comes to the Miami Dolphins, homecoming, Goosey's galore, can't wait. He goes to the Jets, dude's cooked, washed, never should have spent money on him. I already got this all written out. The script can go either way. We're sitting back here. We can go either way with Dalvin Cook if whatever way he wants to dance on this thing. I'm hoping that he decides that the homecoming is the place to go, but it is, this has been just a very, very interesting wait throughout all of this. But, other than that, like, there's not a ton of drama going into this offseason other than just wanting to see continued growth. Suppose like Devon A-Chain can come out there and have a masterful camp. Cam Smith, same way. Like, I think last year you felt like you saw some rookies. Ezukama had a really good camp, and obviously Skylar Thompson had a great preseason. But, will there be that guy who really bursts on the scene? You're like, oh, I can't wait to see what the addition this guy brings to the table is this year and what kind of a player he could be for the Miami Dolphins. But as far as drama is concerned and, animosity or any of that stuff, that's just not there for them right now. They're in just such a clean place. But either way, I mean, the first time you get to see them go out there with those uniforms, oh, the goose will be loose, dude. Galore.